These are one of my flashiest piece of earrings. I call them my banana leaf earrings. They're kind of like crazy tropic vibe, a cool statement earring. I want to show you how to make these. Pretty standard metal forming technique called fold forming. Fold the metal and you hammer it, and then I kind of melt the edges. I start with a flat sheet of metal, 30 gauge. 30 gauge is really thin, really lightweight. I use red brass. Starts with you measuring it out. They're about 3.5 inches. Maybe about 1.5 inches wide. Now I'm going to crease that edge so it has like a nice sharp fold. I'm just going to use like a hammer. I could use a rawhide, but I want it to be kind of beaten. So when you're hammering, I'm almost stroking it. I don't just want to hammer straight down, because if I do, it might be uneven. Gently tapping it. Basically, I'm going to round off my edges, take my scissors, and I'm going to cut that edge off. It's going to make hammering a lot easier without that extra metal you don't need. This is the fun part. This is where you really get to lay like into your metal. I'm going to get my bordering hammer, and I'm going to pick the wider side instead of the skinny side. Start in the middle and work your way out with the hammer. The way that you're going to move the metal is you're actually hitting on the edge, and that's expanding so much so that it bends the metal. I'm going to twist my anvil so I get it right in the edge. If you hit your anvil, you're going to really like mess up your hammer. Try to only hit the metal here. And I'm going to hit it pretty hard. I'm actually curving the piece as I'm hitting that. That's pretty essential too. My hammer head is going to curve with it. And then it's going to get out of shape, it's going to get warped. So I use my rawhide to like flatten it out. A little bit on both sides. And then I can kind of go at it again. This is the fun part where you get to open these little guys up and see what's inside. Wiggle it back and forth. Pull it apart with my hands. A lot shinier on the inside. Actually, I might want to anneal these. They're kind of hard. Annealing is softening the metal. When I hammer it, it gets work hardened and it's really tough to pull apart, as you can see. I like a propane oxygen tank. I can play with the pressure. I usually keep it around a 9 or a 10. This is like a little mini torch. This is the biggest one I have. Is only like a 7. I want a big flame for this. It's kind of red. If that's when you know it's like annealed. I'm gonna flip it to the other side. And then you could probably air cool it for a second. And we'll just throw it in the pickle, which is like a really mild acid, kind of similar to stomach acid. You see, once you put it in the water, that kind of crazy part comes off pretty fast. Really, I can just rub that with my hands. So we're gonna try to open it up again and see if that's better. I can already feel that it's way softer. Now I can kind of get in those little spots that I wasn't able to before. And pulling it apart is much, much easier. As I pull it apart, I'm actually gonna bend it a little bit more. Putting my fingers and pressing with my thumbs, kind of bend the edges a little bit. I trim one side. I try to keep one side small, and that one will go on the inside of your ear. And I'm just gonna freehand cut it. Make sure when you're looking at them, you're gonna get that little mirror look, so you wanna do the same side. And we're gonna melt those edges. This time I want a much tighter flame. And as it melt, you kind of move it. And so some parts you wanna melt a little more. You can just look at it, like, does that look good? Maybe you want to heat over here a little more. If you go pretty fast, it actually tends to look better. Quench it, and we'll put it in the pickle for a second too. And at this point, they kind of do still look ugly, not until you're gonna tumble them and then plate them will they really give that super glam effect. I have my drill bits. This one is about the size of a 22 gauge ear wires, which I use. Always use burr life. This lubricates your drill. Use a lot of burr life because it's gonna make your drill bits last longer. So I went through it, looks pretty good. You want to have it centered. So now it's time to make the ear wire. I'm going to make them out of gold fill, taking 22 gauge wire. So I like these pliers that have a flat side. So I'm probably just gonna make a little loop. And then where it connects, I'm gonna cut it. But I'm gonna cut it not totally flat, I'm gonna cut it at an angle. So now that I cut it, I'm gonna go through meticulously and sand that little connection. I like everything to be really clean and flush. This is maybe not a step that's necessary, but for me it is. And so this is the time that I get to put it through my piece. So I'll open it up a little bit. So that's string it through. There we go. And then I can close it. It's got a lot of movement to it. I hammer my little solder out and then I cut it. So that gives you tinier little pieces. I put my finger behind it. Okay, so we fluxed it. It's a really quick thing. You know, let the flux clear. Put my little tiny ball on and just like gently heat it. So I'll pickle them. I'm just gonna pickle the ends. Now bend my ear wires. Take something round without grooves in it, bend it around. So now you've got these super awesome banana leaf earrings. Rock all day long or at night. Except they totally need to be, I need to remove the copper plating. I'm gonna clean them, then I'm gonna tumble them, and then I'm gonna gold plate them. So this is not even like the final bit. But so far it actually looks pretty cool.